Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another edition of Viewpoint. In tonight's edition of the program, we are talking political issues in relation to what has been happening with the SDF party. The infighting between Honorable Joshua Osih and Honorable Nenche in relation to what is happening in the party. So in tonight's edition of the program, we have two guests to talk to us. One is out of the country and one is with me in the studio. Let us go straight away to welcome Mr. Tabong Karl. He is on the line to Rwanda. Good evening, Mr. Tabong. Thank you for being there for us.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Venasius. Thank you for inviting me once more. I'm happy with the fact that you always have my time to invite me. Thank you very much. I will not go without greeting my daughter, Kamel, from Rwanda here with me. Even she's one, but in fact, I'm trying to rectify her brain. So, by the way, Mr. Venasius, thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karl. Mr. Karl is being accompanied by Mr. Ngalim Derek. Mr. Ngalim is a Pan-Africanist. Good evening, Mr. Ngalim.
Good evening, Mr. Mange, and thanks for inviting again.
It is our pleasure having you with us for Viewpoint. Let us go straight away to take part one of the program. We begin with question one. Mr. Tabong, I am with you. Handling of the issue between Osih and Nenche by the NEC, that's the National Executive Commission of the SDF party. Is it an objective way to solve the crisis in the party?
Yes, of course, an objective way to solve the crisis in the party, because the SDF party has so many good and talented lawyers, so they will have to see on how to solve this particular problem between Nenche and Osih of the SDF party.
Thank you, Mr. Karl. Mr. Karl says, yes, it is an objective way. Mr. Ngalim, what is your opinion? Is it an objective way of handling that crisis within the SDF?
It is perfectly objective.
Mr. Ngalim says it is an objective way perfectly. Mr. Ngalim, we take the second question with you. Can the crisis bring sanity into the SDF party?
No.
Mr. Ngalim thinks no, it cannot. Mr. Tabong, can the crisis going on in the SDF, this crisis between Osih and Nenche, can it bring sanity within the SDF party?
Of course, yes, it will bring sanity in the SDF party, because the member will have to see who has been destroying the SDF party. And immediately they discover who has been destroying the SDF party, it will therefore bring sanity into the SDF party without any problem, Mr. Venasius.
Thank you so much. Let us go to part two of the program and we'll hear them talk to us. If you are just joining us, you're watching Viewpoint on DBS Television, and we're equally live on our Facebook page. For over some months, the SDF party has been confronted with internal fighting between the first vice national president, Honorable Joshua Osih, and the littoral region president, Jean-Michel Nenche, over the issue that Honorable Osih was involved in the signing of the petition to the U.S. Congress by some Cameroonian members of parliament. According to Jean-Michel Nenche, Honorable Joshua Osih was not supposed to carry out such an act which the party considers it as being anti, the slogan or, the activities of the party. During the last NEC meeting that held in Yaoundé, the case was accepted from Honorable Nenche and was forwarded to the legal department of the SDF party with a maximum time of 3 weeks that they have to see it and then bring back the findings for sanctions or the case to see how the case will be handled within the SDF party. In today's edition of the program, we are asking the question, bringing in the situation in the NEC and handling the way they did it, was it objective? And Mr. Karl, who is live from Rwanda, thinks that was objective. Mr. Karl, can we hear you out?
Mr. Venasius, I rarely say this is the second time we hold this, but this is the second time I'm intervening as far as this particular case is concerned. I rarely told you the other time that, the fact that Joshua Osih, you can fool the people some of the time, you cannot fool the people all the time. So why ask the question, why is it that there are so many leaders in the SDF political party? Why is it that it's only Joshua Osei that people have seen that he is a traitor? Ask yourself that question. That is the first question we answer. Yeah, I told you, we cannot be fighting a crisis, which is the Anglophone crisis. I know how we are dying. Our people are dying in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon. Another Anglophone in the name of Joshua Osei goes in there to sign, I do not know, it's a petition or whatsoever, and nationally where he's supposed to represent the people and make sure the Anglophone crisis should end peaceful way. He went as far as provoke Northwesterner and Southwesterner one, which was not good. I'll carry the second point. What Joshua Osei did, you know, imagine Joshua Osei. What was he doing at the level of Fekafu? Another failure from Joshua Osei. Thirdly, Joshua Osei during the presidential election in 2018 ridiculed and to an extent disgraced the SDF party. This is the more reason why, and the Joshua Osei, from what I'm hearing from press and all the even here, when I was listening to one famous program yesterday, on Sunday, where Eva Emmanuel made it clearly that Joshua, everyone had all the secret of the SDF party, which were given by Mr. Joshua. If he wants to be a CPDM member, let him be a CPDM member automatically and forget about the SDF party. I am telling you this because look at what Nietzsche, Nietzsche is a man of integrity. A man of integrity because look at what is happening today as far as the task force is concerned. The task force where the government official, most of the ministers today were convoked by the TCS, the Tribunal Criminal Special, and the French Army. They were convoked in order to answer how they managed the COVID-19 form. This came as a result of what Honorable Ninche did, because Honorable Ninche is, I can say, the only parliamentarian from now in Cameroon whose job without any fear whatsoever person alive. That is what a parliamentarian has to do. A parliamentarian has to look into, control the government and vote laws. But most of these people, they neither control the government activity nor they neither vote laws. Why is that Joshua Osei was unable to do that? That is why Joshua Osei case has been sent into the judicial bench of the SDF party to look upon it in order to know to bring out severe sanction against Joshua Osei. Because if Joshua Osei is not sanctioned severely, people like new militants will be unable to join the SDF party. That's the reason why I want Joshua Osei. I want that the judicial bench of the SDF possible so that they see into the case and sanction the culprit. And I believe that he will not go free. Let him be serious once and for all. Thank you very much, Mr. Vera.
Okay, Mr. Tabong, thank you. We've got your point, and we want to take from Mr. Ngalim, who also thinks that the crisis is being managed objectively. Mr. Ngalim?
Yes, I said the crisis are being managed objectively, and I stand on that point because I support the Englishman who says what is sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. Yes. You know, Article 8.2 of the National Executive Council for the SDF totally excludes any member who is accused of anti-party activities.
Yes.
And when you look at this down the line, a number of persons have had to toe the line because of this kind of activities. You have Muhammad Suleiman, you have Pierre Kwemo, who was one-time first vice president of the party. You have Madi Sadi, and of course the fire-spitting Bernard Mona. May his soul rest in peace. And if the objective was done, justice was done according to the text of the party to these ones, why won't the case of Osei Joshua be objective? And I would say among the accusations that he has received, there are very salient issues. Collusion with the CPDM,
the ruling party,
in total defiance of the instructions of the party.
Yes.
And the fact of signing a petition with the CPDM party, I mean, which the rest of the party warned against, Then he rebelled against next resolve of March 2018.
Yes.
When they said no one should organize media campaigns, and he did. That was total rebellion. And again, he is accused of having poorly managed the presidential, the parliamentary, and the municipal elections of that same year. And when you look at all this, I think Joshua Osih has shown the party where he belongs. And I think it would have been honorable for him to bow out like
freely.
Yes, an honorable member that he is supposed to be, rather than having to go out through the shameful door. I would say signing a petition calling on the American government to send back citizens to Cameroon who have decided to stand on the side of truth.
Yes.
By pointing at Cameroon and saying there is a cancer,
yes,
even though it is still at a dispensable part of the body, but which if we don't handle with care, it may be to consume the essential organs.
Yes.
I mean, these people did what is right. These are patriotic citizens who have decided to say, let us fix our country so that we'll be able to live in it. But rather than choosing the side of truth and fixing the problem in the country, they're running after shadows.
But you remember that you are the one who think that they did what is right, because the government does not see it as what is right, because the government kind of see them propagating instead division in a country.
Yeah, the government cannot see otherwise, because they know what the people are asking for, and they know it is a historical truth. They cannot manipulate it. And the request of the people is simple. This form of the state which we have now is not good for us, and it has brought a war which we don't even know where to begin from. Therefore, instead of running behind these individuals who are struggling to point out, let us go back to the initial agreement, which will fix our issues. Osih Joshua should not have put his signature on that, on that paper.
Yes.
Rather, if it was a document which was signed calling on America to come and help resolve the crisis, I think he would have been given a red carpet reception by the party militants. He would
have been one to lead that.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Ngalim, we'll come back to you later, because you are sharing the same opinion like Carl out there in Rwanda. But I want to find out again from Carl. Carl, Joshua Osih was acting as an MP, and the law of the land is an MP does not belong to his constituency, does not belong to his region of origin or to his tribe. An MP is an MP of the nation. Was Osih Joshua acting as a Cameroonian member of parliament, or Osih Joshua was acting as a member of the SDF or as a member from the northwest or southwest region?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I proceed, I'll first of all use the word of one of my very good classmate here called Madame Ngelifa Bernice. At times she said, call a spade, do not call a spade another name. Joshua Osih, whether Joshua Osih was acting like a parliament before being a parliamentarian, he is first of all from the SDF party. And you know what we Anglophones are suffering in both regions. For example, the English-speaking region and the English-speaking regions of the Northwest and Southwest region of Cameroon. Without telling you what is happening in my own village in Besali, my village in Libya. So this is an issue. This issue concerns the crisis in Northwest and Southwest region of Cameroon. Joshua Osih had no right as an Anglophone to sign any petition in the National Assembly telling America to destroy our people. I said, no, that's the more reason why he should be removed. He should be dismissed from the SDF, from the SDF party. I'm telling you, God is spade, like what my classmate Riley said on the name of Bernice. She said it, and she always said, call a spade a spade. I should call Joshua Osih a traitor, because he is a traitor. That is his name. I will say it loudly, whatever I'm going, I will say it, because you cannot imagine that they are killing for the North and South. You are a parliamentarian. Look at what Nincha, who is from the Western region, is doing as far for the parliament is concerned. It's the only parliamentarian I can respect today in the Cameroon National Assembly, be it in the upper house or the lower house assembly. I am telling you, because these guys are not serious. They are not there to represent the people. That is why most of them should even leave that glass house, because they are there to represent personal interest. And Joshua Osei is one of those people, those guys who is there to represent their personal interest. One, I will quote, during the presidential election of 2018, before the SDF filed in a petition and the MRSA party of Professor Maurice Kamto and the Univer Party, the then Univer Party with Cabral Libby, Joshua Osei had already sent a message of congratulations to the President of the Republic, telling us that he has won the election. And why were they going into the Constitutional Council? Therefore, he was deceiving the various lawyers and the various council, which one I am also a council, deceiving that when I was defending, what did they accept? Why were they defending that one? Secondly, what was Joshua Osei doing in Fekafuta? As I said, if you pose the question to understand that whether Joshua Osei was acting as a parliamentarian or not, I'll tell you no. Before being a parliamentarian, he is first of all the first vice national president of the SDF party. I'll tell you no. Joshua Osei had no right to do that. And I began here by saying that you can fool the people some of the time, but you will never fool the people all the time. That is clear. That's crystal clear. So Joshua Osei should he should simply leave the SDF party, go to the CPJ party where he belongs. I said, no, I do not see why he's there. He should go where he belongs. That's the truth about it. They should stop in Cameroon, especially the English-speaking Cameroonians. There is a crisis. I wonder a parliamentarian who is there, his duty is to defend the people of Southern Cameroon. He was, that is what I tell you, he's there for his personal interest and not for the people of Southern Cameroon. And I will say that time without number.
Okay, Mr. Carl, thank you so much. We will take Mr. Derek here, and we go over to question 2. We're asking that this is not the only crisis that has been plaguing the SDF party. Like you both rightly said, the SDF has been going through thick and thin. Right, even before the 2018 presidential election and after the elections, there have been internal squabble within the party. This one coming up again, we are asking, is this crisis going to bring insanity into the party? Mr. Ngalim, you think that no, it is not going to bring insanity into this party?
I hold it's not going to bring back sanity to this party. I think in life, there is never a second opportunity to create the first impression. I mean, first impressions are for life.
Exactly.
And when you look at the number of persons who have faced the National Executive Council of the SDF, and the party has rather moved from the grace from where it started to the grass where we stand now. It is just a clear sign to you that they are going to nosedive further. Even if they resolve this crisis by reconciling the conflicting parties, yes. I will tell you they are ordaining an enemy within
themselves. Okay, but then resolving the crisis, like you rightly said in part 1, that Joshua Osei should honorably bow out. Is it not like?
Certainly.
Is it not like sapping? Those other people that you indicated were, strong arms of the SDF party. And if Joshua Osei should also leave, is it not like the party is completely draining down?
I think
should he not remain there to maintain?
His presence in the House is not helpful to the SDF party. Because if he can stand out to counter what every text of the party stands for, I mean, and when you look at the various accusations against him, they are very valid. What defense does he have? The only thing he stands to tell himself is he's a parliamentarian for Cameroonian and not the SDF party. But you don't get up from your house and become a parliamentarian. You are not appointed.
Right.
I think it goes through an election.
From the people, yes.
And they are the militants of the SDF
who endorses your candidature.
Who put him in that position. And you cannot reach there, neglect the people, and you completely think that you're justified by doing what you will as a parliamentarian. I will tell you very clearly, I think Article 8.2 of the NEC, it makes one thing clear. No one is above the law. Whether you are vice president, national vice president, or parliamentarian, or whatsoever. Others have gone down the drain because of anti-party activities. And I think also the Osei Joshua is not an exception. And SDF, from indications, does not learn from past experiences, because if they did, the party would have been growing from strength to strength. But you find yourself where we are. I mean, all this fight is just about is power mongering, as I would say.
It's not for the good of the grassroots militant.
They're running after the nectar of political life in Cameroon. They are just there for the goodies and personal interest. I think Mr. Tabong rightly said that the man nature is the only man he respects as far as the parliamentary house is concerned. I will not be so quick to say that, because at least someone won't never read a book by the cover.
Yeah, you must at least flip through the pages.
It's clear to us that politicians have stood up proof that they could be trusted, and immediately they get into
look at what happened with the COVID-19 fund.
When they get into power, we no longer know who they are. I praise the man for struggling to maintain patriotism in the country, and I wish that, I mean, this saga was about an insatiable thirst, I mean, to change this country to what it's supposed to be. But our country is very unpredictable. We have very few patriotic Cameroonians. And I will still tell you, this crisis, I am not yet about to believe that they're going to bring sanity to this party, because there is still a further dissension. And I think these crises are simply because one person cannot give way to the other. I would assure you that, and it will not be long before you discover it.
All right. Let us take the views of Carl, who thinks that it would rather instill sanity into the house. But according to Carl, we want to find out from Carl. Remember that O.C. Joshua has his own following in the party. Nurture has his own following in the party. When they reconcile Joshua and O.C., do you think that they can succeed in reconciling the other party members who are there? So according to you, you think that the crisis would bring in, sanity into this house? If Joshua Ossie is kicked out, what happened to those who are following him? If he is brought in, what happened to those who are following Nurture? Let us hear you out.
Mr. Venantius, honestly speaking, let me first of all be very clear. Let me first of all very clear with you. Joshua also will not be the first person that will be expelled from the SDF party. It's not the first. Big tycoons like late Asungani, the Secretary General of the SDF, was expelled by two. They still had seats in the municipal council. They still had seats. Joshua Ossie is not the first. No, he will not be the last. Even if he is expelled from the SDF party, the SDF party will continue with those who will be in the SDF party. Because you cannot continue to party like the SDF party with people like Joshua Ossie in that particular party. No. It will tell you it's better that Joshua Ossie leaves that party, and maybe the SDF party will have more followers than any other party in Cameroon. Because let me tell you, as I rightly said, the only parliamentarian, the most courageous parliamentarian now in Cameroon is Nietzsche. What is happening today in Cameroon? Look at the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is today in Douala at the GCAM. At the GCAM to talk with members of the GCAM. The GCAM. That is because people had a courageous parliamentarian. They are stopped. Guys, I have been telling you that these people has a rule Cameroon as if Cameroon was borrowed someone. What the Cameroon is going to reform Cameroon to the rightful honor. And I know one Joshua Ossie should be a party, and if the SDF party was borrowed somewhere, and one day they are going to respond to the SDF party rightful honor. I will tell you, people like Kwemu were expelled from the party. Kawala left the party. Still that the SDF party is still strong. Tell me, but all these people who left the SDF party and went, tell me whether they want even a seat somewhere. Show me, give me an example, and I'll tell you. I said no, the SDF party will come, and we have to expel people like Joshua Ossie, so that SDF party continue to remain strong. You will not tell me that Joshua Ossie of today had the caliber of Asungani yesterday. I'll tell you no. Asungani would the SDF party carry all Libya Alem behind him. But when he was expelled, somebody like Dobenga came in. When Dobenga came in, the SDF party continued in Libya, and up to the SDF parties in Libya. So Ossie is present or absent in the party, in the SDF party will have no negative.
Okay. Thank you. Unfortunately, Mr. Tabong, we cannot get you to the end, but I think your point is going across that if Joshua Osih leaves the SDF party, it will not have any negative impact. But then we must indicate that it is better a house is, brought together and reconciliation brought to the table so that they can talk things out than kicking them out. Because, Mr. Ngalim, we are rounding up for time is against us. Should the SDF, do you think that the SDF should maintain this Article 8.2, which some see it as an axe on those who want to perhaps challenge the leadership of the party?
I think those who are scared of Article 8.2 are scared because they don't want to stand to the demands of the party's text.
Yes.
And the party's text, you cannot tell me that you will build your house and you allow someone else to dictate how your house
from outside.
From outside.
Yes.
I think if someone admires belonging to other parties, they should go to other parties which permit them to act the way they will. But I think the SDF party has rules and regulations. And if you have to play in SDF, you have to play by the rules and regulations. And when you go against the laid down objectives of the party, you should expect the axe to fall where the wood lies. And Osih Joshua, like Mr. Tabong has already said, it's not different from all the other big wigs that
who had gone through the same
path. And like he said, their living had no negative
effect on the party.
On the party. And I'm sorry to say, not just a negative impact, but there was no positive impact as well. Because if you judge the party, the path that the party has taken from the 90s till today, you will tell me that it's like a river that suddenly becomes a trickle at some point down.
Thank you, Mr. Ngalim. Mr. Tabong, we are rounding up with, because time is against us, it was our pleasure having you on today's edition of the program, Tabong.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Venasius. I'll not go without greeting my precious mother who is still in the sick bed. But I believe that by God's grace, she will recover time from now. And I also agree with some teacher who is in class today, and he was teaching me a corporate transaction. Therefore, when I come, I'm going to rule your company, the DBS TV, because I will be an advocate to maybe advise your boss on how a company should be run. Thank you very much, Mr. Venasius. Next time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tabong, and take our greetings to your classmates and colleagues who are out there in Rwanda. Ladies and gentlemen, that is where we've come to the end of today's edition of the program. Thank you, Mr. Ngalim, for being there.
Thank you for inviting, and I promise I will always be there when necessary.
Thank you so much. That is all we had time for today's edition of the program. Let us take the discussion on our Facebook page. Up next is the news in the English language with our staff lady, Cynthia Ngwemo. Until we meet again, have a blessed evening. Goodbye.